Hey guys, it's Mr. Lindy, and as you can see, what we're working on right now is Section 5.7, and it's dividing decimals, except for there's a big change. What happens is, I don't want any remainders anymore, and we're going to learn what to do when you do not want a remainder. It's a good question. So the best thing to do, what I feel, is just to jump into a question and let's see what we have. So first question I have for you is 405 divided by 25. Now what we're going to see is how many 25s go into 405. If you need to, those over there, 25, we're going to make a list: 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175, 200, 225, 250, 275, 300, 325, 350, 375, 400. Okay, so there's our list that we can refer to. And you got to remember, you start to ask yourself, can 25 go into 4? It does not. Can 25 go into 40? Yes, it can. It can go into 40 one time. So I'm going to put the 1 up here, and then we're going to multiply the 1 times the 25, which equals 25. We know after that we subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5, and we have 15 down here. Is 15 smaller than 25? Yes, it is. Means we can move on and bring down to 5. Now here we go. We go back up to 25 and see if 25 can go into the 155. So we look over and it goes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 6 times, and then 6 times 25 is 150. Now normally after we subtract this, you would get 5 and you would go up and you would write a remainder of 5. Well, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to erase this remainder, and I'm going to show you what you can do. And what you can do is actually extend the house. We're going to put in our decimal place, and we're going to move it up. And then we're going to put a 0 here. This 405.0 is the same thing as 405. Now we're going to bring this 0 down. And now we're going to see how many times is 25 going to 50. And it is twice. And then 2 times 25 is 50. And you subtract, and you get your answer. So there's one example. You can see that's when we're dividing whole numbers by whole numbers. Notice that I added in a decimal and a 0, dropped the 0 down, and in one step I could complete the problem. Let's look at another one. The next one is actually on page 333. It is number 3, and it is 12 9/10 divided by 6/10. Now, we remember from the previous lesson that if we are dividing a decimal by a decimal, it can't happen. So what we have to do is move the decimal over on this one. And if I do that on that one, I have to do it on this one. So now the decimal is over here. And I'm going to just move it straight up instantly. So now we have 129 divided by 6. So what do? We start off and we say 6 goes into 12. It goes in there 2 times. Then 2 times 6 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. That's definitely smaller than 6, and we can bring down to 9. Now we go back. How many times does 6 go into 9? It goes into 1 time. 1 times 6. You subtract, and we have 3. Like I said, that's where our normal answer we'd say it's 21 remainder 3. I don't want that in my answer, so what I'm going to do is right next to the decimal point over here, I'm going to extend the house, and I'm going to put a 0, and I'm going to bring down this 0. Now, I can say how many times does 6 go into 30? 6 goes into 35 times. 5 times 6 is 30. And now you have your answer once again. Little hat on this guy. A good way to do a check is to actually take this and redo it. So let's go over here and do the multiplication. So 21.5 times 6 and see if it works and see if we get the number inside of the house. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. And then 6 times 2 is 12. and then we count the decimals, we move it over, it is 129, and that is exactly what we got. So there's a way to check. You know that that is actually working when we bring down the 0 right over here. It is working. Let's try another one. Now this one is a little bit harder. It is number 12 on the homework, and we're looking at 138 divided by 16. Now what can we do first is I want to make a list because I don't know. I don't know my 16s that well. So let's see what we can do. 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 96, 112, 128, and 144. Okay, I think that's going to be good enough for us right there. So let's go back to the problem. So we have 16 goes into 13. It does not. The 16 going to 138. Let's go over to our list and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times without going over. So we put our 8. 8 times 16 is 128. 128. And we subtract. We have 0 here and 1, so we have 10. Now we're looking at it, and like I said, that would be remainder 10, except for now, I don't want that anymore, so I'm going to put in a decimal and a 0. Put the decimal up. We're going to bring down a 0. Now 16 goes into 100. We're going to count over here. We're going to see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times without going over. 6 times 16 is 96. We subtract that. We have 4. 4 smaller, but I would have a remainder if I wanted to there, but I still don't want a remainder, so I'm going to put another 0 in. And then I'm going to drop it down. Now we have 16. It goes into 40. 16 goes into 40 2 times. 2 times 16 is 32. Subtract. We get 10 minus that. It's 8. 8 is smaller, 16. I'm still not finished. I'm going to add another 0. Bring it down. I'll have 80 now. 16 goes into 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 5 times 16 is 80. Subtract it, and there is your 0. So, as you can see, we definitely do not have to have a remainder if we don't want to. Takes a little bit more work, but this is more precise and it will give you a more precise answer. Sometimes if they ask for a remainder, go ahead and give it, but if they do not want a remainder, we have to add zeros. Once in a while, you will run into a problem that will just never end, and that is called a repeating decimal. I will show you some of those tomorrow, but take a look. I hope that this helps you out, and I will talk to you tomorrow. See you guys.